Hi, this is Brian Aldrich with 4th Street Software. Today I'm going to show you commissioners out there how to use the football program to get a league set up. So, first things first, I've got the program running here. I'm going to load up to the 2002 season. This is the Pro League team, all of them there, all 30 of them, or 32 I guess there are. And what I'm going to do is eventually get to this NNFL, which is the No Name Football League. It's a league that I used to run way back when, about 10 years ago. Now, I'm going to start from scratch though. So we're going to start out with, let's go with League 4. So here's League 4. It's empty, nothing in it. Title, you can change it if you want. So let's call it the league. Leave the season 2002. Probably not a good idea to change that. If it isn't there, just type it in. And then I'm just going to have two different divisions. So East and West. And we'll just name these real simple teams. Gulliver's Travels. Let's go with the Boston Mill Sox and the Geneva Hens. And over here we'll go with the Jacksonville Spiders, the Tuscaloosa Apples, and finally my favorite, the Wrightstown Rednecks. Alright, now we'll go back here and I'm just going to put in a 2 or 3 letter designation for each of these to differentiate them. Even though these team names are really important, it's more important actually, believe it or not, to have these little abbreviations. So let's go with Gulliver's. So we'll just go GUL, Boston is BOS, Geneva, and we'll go to Jacksonville, Tuscaloosa, and Wrightstown. And of course, we should go ahead and save that. All right, now, once I have that set up, it's pretty much ready to send off to all your league members, and in that way, they have something, kind of a template to get started with. So let's go ahead and do that. So the next thing you'll want to do here is click on platoons. There's nothing in here. There's no players in this. There's a lot of gobbledygook. So you can't really make platoons right now. You don't have any players on your roster. But that's not the point. What we're trying to do is get all the teams over to everybody else. So I'm going to just go to Import Export. And there's all kinds of different ones in here. But the one you want as commissioner is to export your platoons and rosters for all teams in the league. So I'll click on that. And you'll notice I've done a few others to these for other leagues here right now. But this one is going to end up, you might want to take note of what its name is, League 4. That's important, 2002, the league. So that's the name of the league, League 4, 2002, and it's in the 2002 folder. I'll just hit save, and up here you can see it's already completed the task. There wasn't much to do really. Alright, so now I'm going to exit out of here, and what you're seeing in this background is just the code that I used to make this program. And then what we're going to do is start, let's just pretend now that we're on a different machine, you're in a different location, this is a different person, this is one of your league members now, and they're starting up their program here. And of course, they have to have the 2002 season installed. They should also be running the same version software that you are. So I'm going to go ahead and load up 2002. And in case they didn't know how, you can just click on this little open button like you normally would with a Word document or whatever. 2002 is the season folder, and there's my player file. So I go ahead and right away remember this is a different machine or individual here that's working. They're loading up the Pro League that you saw earlier. And in League 4, we have absolutely nothing. It's a blank league. All right, so now we want to populate that with our teams. So just like I did when I was the commissioner, I'm going to click on the platoons, and you'll notice there's absolutely nothing here. I'm going to go to Import, Export. This time I want to import from File all the teams in the league. Now, you would have had to send them that file previously that we had, so let me go in and get that here real quick. I put this in one of my Dropbox folders here, so I'll have to find it, but that'll only take me a second. 2002, and we're looking at League 4. There it is, XPL. By the way, XPL stands for XML platoon file. So I'm going to bring that back over here now. Basically, you would email this to the other individuals in your league. They could store that inside this folder, or they could store it on their desktop or wherever. It doesn't really make any difference. And again, all right, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm another individual now. I'm going to pretend to be another individual in your league. We're going to import these not rosters, but teams into our new 2002 season. So I'm going to go to Import, All Teams in League, and here is the file that I made before. Now I notice I put it in the 2002 folder. So this is the one I want, League 4. So we'll click on that, and you can see it's making a player code array. It's releasing all the players from their previous responsibilities, assigning them. Of course, we haven't actually even drafted anybody yet. So again, the team is empty. The rosters are completely empty. So are the platoons. But I've got Gulliver's Travels now inside this. Now, all of them didn't show up. So what I'm going to do is just exit out. It's not designed to update itself immediately, at least not right now. That'll come in another version here eventually. But if I start it up and reload it, sure enough, here they are. And we are in League 4. All right, so that is step one. Now, I'm going to exit out of here. Okay, my next thing to do is let's get some players on these rosters. So we'll go back to my commissioner duties again here, and I'm going to load this up. And let's say we got Gulliver's Travels here, so let's put some players on. Now this would be your annual draft here. So I've got a whole bunch of them here. And way back in 2002, Marvin Harrison was a complete stud. So if I want to add him to my team, I just go ahead and click on his team, or excuse me, his name, and then click on Add. I can find anybody in here I want. So let's see if Dante Culpepper was around back then. So I hit search, and oh, there he is, Dante Culpepper. So I can add him to my team too. I see Woodrow Dantzler here. He must have been really good. Not really, but if I double click on him, that adds it. Same way, you can do that all the time. Now, let's say it's the Mill Sox turn to draft here, and they would like Chad Pennington. So we can just keep adding and adding and adding players here at our leisure. Okay, now when you're all finished, again, you'll want to go to Import, Export. Remember, you're the commissioner. And, whoops, let me get back in platoons here. That actually would do some things too, but this is much easier to use in the platoons module. So, all right, we're going to export to the platoons and rosters for all teams in the league. And I only have a few players here, but it's just enough to give you a snapshot of what's going on. So we'll go ahead and save this again, and we are going to replace it. Task completed. So again, we don't have a ton of stuff in here. And again, I'm going to X out of that. I'm going to grab that from my folder that I was working with before and put it into my pretend folder here. For one of your league members. Okay, so I'm John, league member here. Start my program up. I load up my player file. I got Gulliver's Travels. Now if I look at my draft screen here, Gulliver's Travels shouldn't have a single player listed because we haven't updated it yet. So again, I'm going to go into my platoons, or they are going to go into your platoons, and in the import export, go to import, all teams in league, and again, locate that with the file that you just emailed to him or her. Double click on that and it will go through the same process. And at its conclusion, we should see players. So here are the 3 players that I drafted for Gulliver's Travels. The Mill Sox had a couple of them added, and I didn't get around to the Geneva Hens, so their roster is completely empty. All right, so now let's see what else we can do here. Let's go back to Gulliver's Travels. Now, I don't have very many players on this team, so I'm not going to be able to complete this task, but let's put them into some platoons. So keep in mind, I'm not the commissioner right now. I'm a league member. So I'm going to go ahead and make my platoons. And first of all, I'm going to choose to go with a 1-back set as my primary package. And let's go 4-3 for my defense, primary. And let's go to the 1-back package here and put Dante as my quarterback. We'll put Dantzler as my stud running back and Marvin Harrison as a flanker. Now if I want, I can transfer all of those into the different locations here on different platoons. So let's say I've got Dante sitting here at quarterback and I want him to be my full-time quarterback. So I'm going to click on this transfer button or forward button. And if I click now or on the 2-back now, you can see Dante is my quarterback. He is for the short yardage, long yardage, and the 4-wide receiver, as well as the original ace formation or 1-back formation. I can do them all at once if I want by clicking out this universal one, and that will put them on all my rosters. I can do the same with the defense. By the way, if I want to really quickly find my quarterback, I can do this, running backs, wide receivers. I don't have any tight ends yet. There's all my players again. All right, so Joe Schmo here has made all of his platoons. Obviously, I can't right now. I don't have enough players, but let's say that I did. He then will go to import export, and he is going to export just this team to a file. So there's his platoon file, platoon something or other, PLT, which stands for platoon. And I'll go ahead and hit save. Notice it's going to drop it into the same folder that we were playing around with before, so the 2002 folder. Export complete. All right, so Joe Schmo is done. Now we're back, Mr. Commissioner. So here's Mr. Commissioner now. You're on my computer. Okay, Joe Schmo would have to go ahead and email you this platoon file. And rather than do that, I'll just copy and paste it into the correct location on my computer, but that's how you would get it to, he would get it to you. And I'll go ahead and load up my 2002. I've got Gulliver's Travels. They're the team that I just collected the platoon file for. Click on platoons. By the way, some of this you're not going to see because it's some extra stuff that I have when I'm programming. I'm going to import for just this team, and it's looking for a platoon file. So I go over and find, here it is, Gulliver's platoon 4. That little 4 in there is indicative of the league number. I'll double click on that. Import is complete. And sure enough, if I click on these, I can see all of the players that Joe Schmo previously had put in there. All right, now let's say that the Boston Mill Sox also did this, and they didn't, but let's say that they did. Whoops, wrong button. So we'll put Pennington and a few other guys in here too. And okay, so you have now you have imported all of the platoon files from all of the league members in your league. So you're the sole possessor of all this information, and you want to disseminate that to everybody else in your league. We're going to do exactly the same thing we did before. So we'll just go to Export Platoons and Roster, All Teams in League. Here it is. That's the file of note that we need. And yep, we're going to overwrite our old one. You probably don't want to keep too many of those around. And again, it went really fast because there aren't many teams in this league, and there aren't many players on them either. So, all right, so I'm going to exit out of here, and we'll go back to Joe Schmo's view of what's going on. So Joe starts up his program, loads up the 2002 season, goes into platoons. And right now, the only platoons he can see are the ones that he created. So nothing there for Boston yet. All right, now let's go back to Gulliver's Travels here just for a second. And I'm going to import all teams in league. And again, this is, you know what? I forgot to email it to myself here. Of course, when I say email, you must understand I don't really mean I'm actually emailing it to myself here on the same machine, but that's what you would have to do. You have to email this to all the players in the league, or the league members. All right, now we're ready to import all the teams in the league. So we go here, and here's my new League 4 XPL file. And it's doing its thing up here. And at the conclusion of that, all of your rosters and platoons should be complete. So, sure enough, here's Gulliver's. And now if I go to the Boston Mill Sox, there's Chad Pennington and Rod Gardner. And I guess the only ones I put anything in were on the Pro Set. So that explains how you get all of the rosters from a group of individuals to yourself, the commissioner, and then disseminate it back to those individuals so that everything is complete.